I'm ready. The Historic Preservation Committee meeting will come now to order. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. Each person has up to 5 minutes to speak on a specific agenda item. To comment during the meeting, members of the public may call 702-589-9629 when the public comment period is opened. Okay. We'll just give a few minutes for public comment. Okay, hearing no public comment, then we'll move on. For possible action, approval of the minutes of the October 28th, 2020 regular meeting. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Turn your mic on, please.
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay, and we need a second.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. The minutes are placed on file. Okay, for possible action, courtesy review of proposed changes at 512 Birch Street relative to the adopted exterior design guidelines for that area.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This is listed as a courtesy review because this house at 512 Birch Street is not a historic Birch Street house. It was built in 1970. And the adjacent home is also not historic, the one at 516 Birch. The current owner, who will be available by phone, plans to add a front porch cover and small living room addition to the front of the home, and intends to make the facade more compatible with the historic houses than the existing facade is. And you've got photos of the existing home in your packet. Although the adopted guidelines exclude this house, the guidelines were previously provided to the owner, for him to use if where he could. And the related inventory sheets for this property are also included in the packet. If you've got any questions for me, I can attempt to answer those. Otherwise, I'll give the property owner a call and see if he's available.
Okay, are there any questions at this time? Okay.
Hi, Aaron. This is Susan with at the Historic Preservation Committee meeting. Great. I just gave a brief introduction of your item, and would you like to provide any information to the committee?
I think you did a thorough job if you were reading what you provided in that packet, so I don't have anything else to add to it.
You have to point it down at it, or we can hear it all. Tell them to repeat what you said.
I'm sorry, I didn't have the mic by this. Could you repeat what you just said?
I don't have anything else to add. I think that Susan did a very thorough job describing it in the packet.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, any other comments at this time?
I'd like to comment. I drove by that house today, just take a look at it and what it was and compared it to the proposed plans and such. And I also looked at some of the other houses in the neighborhood, and it looks to me like what they're planning on doing actually does fit in very well with the other houses in the area, because just down the street there's a couple houses with the little bump out and a little covered porch, and the barrel tile. So I mean, I think I'd like to commend the homeowner on trying to do what they're doing with this home. I think they're making a nice tribute to the historic homes in the area. So obviously he does not have to follow the guidelines and stuff like that, but I think he's trying to do a very good thing for the neighborhood. So, my opinion, I think it's a good plan. Hope it turns out as nice as the drawings do.
Thank you very much. That is my goal. The house just stands out like a sore thumb today, and I'd really like it not to be exactly like the historic houses, but not to stand out so differently.
Okay, very good. Any other comments?
Hi, thanks, Erin, for what you're doing. I completely support what you're working on and what you're doing. And I like the idea or your, how you describe not trying to stick out like a sore thumb, but blending in and being congruous, so to speak, with the rest of the neighborhood and the historic district. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Well, enjoy and congratulations. Oh, Ray, you have something, okay?
Hello, Erin. This is Ray Turner, and like the others, I would like to commend you as well. You're the type of person we really like to see coming along, especially at this time. Your timing is perfect, and we hope to see a lot more people like yourself doing this great. I consider it a community service you're doing, and I really appreciate it. And I also wanted to ask if it would be possible to get together sometime, or if you would mind if I came and knocked on your door one day, or stopped by to meet you.
Yeah, I would love that. So yeah,
Okay.
Susan has my phone number. You can call me or text me.
Great. Okay, thanks, Erin. I'll do that.
Thank you.
Again, thanks for everything you're doing and congratulations, and look forward to seeing the renovations of your home.
Thank you. I look forward to it too.
Great, thank you, Erin. We'll sign off now.
Thank you.
Okay, for possible action, follow-up discussion regarding activities for the historic preservation event for 2020. Ray, could you make a report on what's going on right now?
Yes, well, Blair and I got together with Mike Bernardo and Patty Aaron at the Bureau of Reclamation, and Mike gave us a tour through the whole facility, gave us a really cool, interesting tour, and showed us everything that they did in the renovation, and it was a very, very interesting and fun evening over there, and we got some great footage and great interview material. I'm just still working on that right now, so it shouldn't be too long before we have our fourth and final installment of the series done. And Mike gave us, he supplied us with a lot of photographs, a lot of before construction, during construction of the Bureau of Reclamation, as well as some other landmarks around town and some great images of downtown Boulder City. So we'll be sharing a lot of that when we do the video as well. So that's where that's at. It's still in the works.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to seeing the finished project. Thank you very much for taking all that time.
I have a question maybe for Susan. Do you know how many likes or responses to the 3 videos? Maybe at the next meeting,
Sure.
we'll maybe get some feedback on that.
Yeah, I can check with Lisa.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good. It's a little early to talk about next year, so we'll just keep finishing up this project here. I think it's going very well, and I'm really proud of everything that Ray has done to make sure that project has gone well.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
Oh, I'll let Ray finish up, but
Okay.
before this item closes out, you can just the committee should let me know whether or not well, I suppose I'll put it on your January agenda anyway, if for no other reason than for follow-up discussion on this, and then you can decide when you want to start talking about the event for 2021.
Okay, thank you. All right, very good. Okay, for possible action, discussion on proposal for articles in local publications regarding Boulder City's historic properties. Okay, I haven't made any more progress on my article. Has anybody else thought about it? No? Okay.
Well, not articles, but Ray and I were talking about how these videos seem to be pretty popular, and we were wondering if, in addition to written articles, maybe there's an opportunity to occasionally develop these short videos, informational videos.
Okay.
And as an example, the recent homeowner on Birch Street, he's
Right.
doing this project. I wonder if on occasion we could highlight, some projects, positive projects on the city's website on these kinds of projects. They wouldn't be perhaps 30 minutes long, but maybe they're just vignettes or shorts. I don't know. And I'm wondering if that's something that we should develop with Lisa, or I'm not sure where they would live and what they would be called. And
Well, as you know, we've got a dedicated, page under the Community Development Department for all things related to historic preservation. So most likely, and I believe right now that's where the links to the current videos that you've done are. So that would no doubt be the proper place for any future videos. In terms of moving forward with that, I can certainly bring it up to Michael. I can't imagine why the city would have a problem with that, as long as committee members are willing to do the work. It definitely would support and promote historic preservation. So if the method you've been using so far to do these and then providing them to Lisa afterwards would work, we'll just let you know whether or not there's any problem with continuing that same process.
I think it's a great idea.
And I don't know if it'd be nice to not only post them on the city's web. It would not.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's hard to get with you guys with a map.
I know. So in addition to posting on the city's website, I would like to, and we can talk to Lisa about this, but to utilize the city's social media channels or on this as well. So.
Right, and I assume you've probably been in contact with Lisa directly before?
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, feel free to reach out to
Okay.
her for some, for her recommendations.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I think it's a great idea. All right, we're moving on. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, next item. Discussion on proposal for articles in the local publications. Okay, we just did that. And we're going to do some video articles as well. For possible action, update on implementation of the committee's goals and priorities. Okay, I looked at this. We're moving along quite well. I highlighted the first ad hoc committee meeting to be held on 12/14. So that hasn't happened yet, but we're looking forward to that committee meeting. Also, the proposal coming up, the Dam Roast House grant application approved by City Council on 7/14/20. Episcopal Church grant to be considered by the City Council on 12/8. So that's next week. So,
Madam Chairman,
yes.
Mr. Mace is here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, members of the committee, Madam Chairwoman. As we do every month with this agenda item, it's an opportunity for the committee to reevaluate the progress being made on the historic preservation goals. And as you've already noted, the highlights are noted in bold.
Right.
And certainly I can answer any questions. Just wanted to provide an additional update. SHPO, Nevada SHPO, has been reviewing the North Wind study. This is the update to the 1983 Janus report, and we're hopeful to get their review completed. They needed more time to do that, and once those comments are shared with North Wind, we will provide the revised plan to the committee.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Okay, the only thing I had highlighted with this was the grant for improvements. As we know, the council approved on September 22nd to incorporate the project that's going to happen at the water treatment plant, right? So that's coming up too, so that's really good progress.
Yes, in fact, we had the CIP workshop yesterday in which that was discussed by the city council.
Okay.
And they're asking for additional information on how to move forward with the restoration of the water filtration plant.
Excellent. Thank you so much for everything you do to make sure that's moving along smoothly. Okay.
Hi, Michael. I have a question about the historic preservation plan with the Nevada Historic Preservation Foundation.
Yes.
And was wondering, what is the schedule?
Well, we did extend community input through the end of November. That originally was planned for October, but because there was not that many respondents, we redoubled our efforts to get the word out to the community, to encourage people to participate in responding to the survey. I have not had a chance to speak with the Nevada Preservation Foundation to find out how many people did respond to the survey, but I know that the next step after collecting that information was for them to prepare the draft plan recommendations, and then we would bring that to the committee for review.
Have you had a lot of input? I noticed in the utility flyer that the deadline was November 30th.
Mm-hmm.
So have you had input from
Well,
the community?
that's what I was just saying.
Yeah.
We haven't had a chance to touch base with them to find out how many people have
Okay.
responded by the end of November.
Okay, all right, I
But,
wasn't clear on that. Okay,
So
Good.
what is the schedule for the preparation of the draft plan? And when do you foresee that we would have an opportunity to review it?
Depending on when the Nevada Preservation Foundation would complete that plan, my expectation would be that would be coming to you in either January or February.
So their contract was extended to be completed when? I mean, or is it
Well,
as it goes along?
as it goes along, obviously, the original contract was hoping that this would all be completed by June, but because of COVID,
Right.
that was delayed. And so it has been extended, and they continue to work on it. And we're hopeful to complete everything before the middle of next year.
Oh, okay, so that's the drop dead contract deadline.
Yeah, that has been flexible considering the situation.
Okay.
Certainly, we want to provide enough opportunity for the committee to provide your input and eventually to take it to the city council for consideration.
Thank
Okay.
you.
so we're looking at January and February then?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Well, any other comments? And then with the ad hoc committee coming up, so we're moving right along. All right, very good. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay, Next item for consideration is approval of meeting calendar for 2021.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As you can see from the draft calendar that's in the packet, the normal situation is that usually the November meeting is too close to Thanksgiving, so we choose an alternate date, which is why we're here tonight. And since inception, the committee has always vacated its December meeting. For next year, we've got a couple suggestions. You can either choose as an alternate November meeting date the last Tuesday in November, which would be on the 30th, and you could have your regular time at 5 p.m. Or if you prefer a Wednesday evening, it could be the following night on December 1st at 6 p.m. because there's another committee that meets before this one.
Okay, what is everybody?
I'm good either.
Yeah, how about you, Mary?
I'm good either way, but I prefer November 30th.
November 30th, okay. How about you, Glenn? Okay,
I'd go along with the November 30th at 5 p.m.
okay, good. How about you, Blair?
November 30th works for me.
All right, okay, November 30th it is.
Okay, yeah, this is informal enough. We don't really need a motion.
All right,
We'll just say members agreed on November 30th.
okay, thank you. Excuse me.
I must admit, I did get the shock when I saw 317. I thought St. Patrick's Day. But that's just when the packet comes out.
Yes, it is not a national holiday
I
here,
won't be
right?
reading it on that day.
I mean, it may be a holiday, it's just not a City Hall is closed holiday.
Okay, the river turns green in Chicago. All right. For possible action, discussion and update on the status of properties in the historic district. Any discussion?
I would like to, something just came to mind, something I just happened yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to talk to anyone yet, and I don't know if it's appropriate under this for us to speak about it, but I was down at the hangar yesterday morning, and I had noticed it looks like somebody's dumping landscape waste or whatever, illegally. I would assume. I don't think it would be a city. It looks like somebody's been dumping down there. So anyway, I was just wondering if maybe we should be limiting the access to the property there. Maybe not like with a hard gate or anything like that, but maybe some kind of a link or a chain going across or something with a sign on it. Like no, I don't know. But somebody's going down there and dumping some stuff. So.
We can certainly pass that on to Public Works.
Yeah, I meant to call someone today and I just totally forgot about it till just now. So I just happened to be down there and I saw the stuff.
I know the city leases that property out various times, and like when they're building the cottages, there's a lot of debris going on, but it's being leased out to Randy Shams while he was building it. Then he cleaned up his mess afterwards. So I wonder if maybe something like that might be going on. And I know the city uses that property too there might be some kind of project going on. They're just doing some stuff and then cleaning it up. So probably touch base with the city first, see if the city's doing something, or if they've leased it out to somebody and they got a project going, and then find out if none of that's going on, well then look into if it's illegal dumping.
Or I put a camera or sign or something that says it's being monitored.
Yeah,
That's
I know
enough to stop people.
Different times it's been used in various ways, and it looks pretty trashy for a while, and then it gets cleaned up, and then it's trashy again, and it gets cleaned up. So I wonder if maybe something like that might be going on.
Hopefully, yeah, that would be the best case.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened in the past, so maybe get with, Susan said, get with somebody in the city and find out if it's might be being used properly, or with permission, shall we say.
Yeah. If we get any answers like that, we can just email that to you, just as an FYI kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
I did have a question about 701 Park Street, the retaining walls.
Excuse me.
And I guess I was curious, those boulders are humongous. And I was just wondering what the code says about that kind of large boulder placement in that location versus the smaller boulders that are in the historic district, and was that considered? And
Well, it's privately owned property, so he's allowed to do whatever meets code. I mean, it's not like the code tells people how big of rock they can have on their property. And in terms of retaining walls, it's all based on engineering. So whether it's those large stacked rockery walls or smaller rock and gabion cages or CMU block or, whatever, as long as it's engineered correctly, that is the only criteria.
and then height though, does that play into it, or is that again an engineering issue? I mean, could he continue building that wall, 100 feet in the air?
No, well, it's a complicated answer. For most of the city's history, there were no limits on retaining wall heights. It's basically whatever's necessary to retain dirt. Usually, you don't find a single wall that's terribly high because that's too difficult to engineer. And for the Park Place property, it will actually be in 3 tiers. My recollection vaguely is that each tier will be around 6 feet high. What the one zoning code standard that is now in the code is that for people building a retaining wall facing a street, that if it's for a flat plain wall, like if you're just building a block wall up, then those have to be tiered back in 6-foot sections, because many years ago the council members didn't care for the really tall retaining walls on the south end of Utah Street. So we put a standard in the code that says no single solid plane facing a street can exceed 6 feet in height, so they can just simply tier them back. And it so happens that those boulder rockery walls already have a slightly stepped back architecture to them because they're not straight up vertical. They, tend to step back a few inches as they go up. And so that meets the intent of that code. The only intent of that code was to stop a flat wall facing the street at being 10 or 12 or 15 feet tall. But the rockery walls have that staggered effect, which is what the code requires. Because the code does not require that the 6-foot sections be stepped back any certain distance. It could literally be just an inch and satisfy the code.
Interesting.
And
Wow.
the option to step it back, say a few feet to create a planter wall was discussed at that early stage, but the problem is many of those situations are where the back of a lot faces a street, like they do at the south end of Utah, and basically homeowners have zero incentive to maintain something that they can't even see and, would never use. Let alone it's difficult to access unless they're going around the block to the backside of their lot. It's just too problematic. So as he said, the step backs could literally be an inch at a time. So those big boulder rockery walls, and there are many of those in different residential parts of town.
Yeah. They're
those are-
attractive. Yeah.
They're pretty common.
Yeah.
Well, they're not that big.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that, to me, the size of those boulders are what you see along the sides of the highway heading down to Lake Mead. And it's holding up these developments as opposed to a single piece of property. So
Yeah.
that was one of my questions. My other question is that final course of wall, is that a final just ground level retaining wall, or is that his final wall, and will his property building be behind it? You see what I'm saying? Or is there a limit, is there a code as far as the limit of how tall of a building can be built there?
How tall of a building?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's 2 stories.
Right.
But does that 2-story begin at the top of his final course of wall, or is it below that?
In the historic part of town, there are no established grades. So, and obviously that side is pretty much a hill, you know,
Right.
so it's not like it's all high or all low. There's slopes all over it. So, in this case, like I said, a triple tiered wall is proposed. And as I said, I believe they were around 6-foot tiers, so that would mean, and I may be wrong, actually the tiers may have been less than 6 feet, because I don't think he has 18 feet of dirt that he has to retain over there. I mean, we could look up those plans and get back to you on that, but basically, wherever that top pad is where he's allowed to build the house, and it would be measured from there. So I'm sure he's trying to create, you know, a buildable pad at the top. So yes, the 2-story and 25 feet would begin from there, but it's not like he's proposing to raise the ground any higher than the highest part of the property already is. He's not artificially building the lot higher than the top part. He's just bringing up the lower parts to be more equivalent to where the top is and where the hospital used to be.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Susan, has there any plans been made for what he's planning on building on that area, or just out of curiosity? I mean, is it be multiple homes or one giant home, or any inkling has anything been applied for on that? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, we're curious too. No, I don't think he's got an answer yet for that.
Okay, so no plans have been submitted or anything like that?
Oh, definitely not.
Okay,
I mean,
that's cool.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, for possible action, discussion regarding potential agenda items for upcoming Historic Preservation Committee meetings.
We mentioned it before, but we'll start putting on the agendas, an agenda item for the ad hoc committee to be able to report back to the full committee. So.
Okay, good. All right, very good. We're moving right along. All right, at this time, we go back to public comment. Each person has up to 5 minutes to speak at the discretion of the chair. Comments made during the public comment period of the agenda may be on any subject. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a whole, not to any individual member of the board or the audience or the city staff. There shall be no personal attacks against the chair, members of the board, the city staff, or any other individual. No person other than members of the board and the person who has the floor shall be permitted to enter into any discussion, either directly or through a member of the board without the permission of the chair or presiding officer. No action may be taken on a matter raised under this item. Okay, so we've got a few minutes here for public comment. I guess I do have one thing to say. I noticed that the Cherryland Apartments, the progress on the renovation to the buildings look fantastic. I was really pleased to see that happening. So if you're listening or you're out there, good job. Yeah. Okay, hearing no other public comment, then this meeting, for all practical purposes, is adjourned.